Hey, Kenny, I wanted to ask you about Jordan Travis and tailoring the offense to him specifically. How has he done just handling what you're asking him to do, and what has it been like seeing him kind of flourish with what you guys are putting him in position to do?
We're asking him to do the same thing in terms of, pre-snap checks and getting us into good plays. And I think he did a really nice job of that. I mean, there were a few looks that, he missed, and that's part of, first game as a starter. You know what I mean? And those looks were earlier in the game. And the best thing I saw from him was he did a really nice job taking the information we were giving him throughout the game and applying it. And that's something that you can't always do at quarterback. Some guys you can talk to and explain things to on game day, but it's really hard for them to apply it the next series. I was really pleased with how he took the information we were giving him. He could see it the next time it happened, and then was able to apply it and get us into the right play or make the correct decision. So I've been pleased with how he's played. I mean, we just got to continue to improve being in rhythm and consistency in his drops, because his success throwing the football comes from the consistency with his feet and his drops. So we just got to continue to build that, and that's one of his goals this week.
Tamori, has really seemed like he's really rebounded well the last couple of weeks and had some big performances. How about the receiving core overall, though? Or how do you feel like they're playing? Do you feel like they're giving you what you guys need at that position?
I think Terry has done a phenomenal job working the last few weeks. I think that's one of the biggest changes for our football team is the commitment to get better. And it sounds repetitive over and over again, just get better. But he has been one of those guys that has completely changed his attitude towards practice. And you can see that show up. I mean, guys like Pokey Wilson, same thing. He's a guy who's been coming to work every single day, and both those guys, you can see the success they're starting to have. And I think that's great for our football team, for them to understand that in order to get better, in order to excel on game day, we have to prepare like it's game day. And those guys have both done a really nice job the last few weeks preparing like that, and it's starting to show up. We just got to be a little bit better versus man-to-man coverage, getting off of that with vertical push and routes. And that's just a fundamental that we just all got to improve on is really pushing up and separating in man-to-man coverage on curls and digs and stuff like that. That was definitely something that we can improve on, and we'll get that done.
Next will be Pat Burnham from the Outfield.
Hey, Coach. Looks like you guys are starting to develop some more continuity on offense, extend drives. You had 4 drives against Notre Dame of 67 yards or more. You only had 2 against Georgia Tech and Miami total. Is that more of a byproduct of you guys having more time in the system, the players continue to learn, or is that Jordan at quarterback? And how much confidence does that give you in expanding the playbook in a game?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, it's a combination of, I think we had, from a penalty standpoint, offensively, we had a full start that pretty much killed the first drive of the game. But other than that, we had one more penalty, but we didn't kill ourselves. We weren't putting ourselves from a penalty standpoint behind the sticks. We were putting ourselves behind the sticks from an MA standpoint, but a few times on the perimeter blocking and mis-IDing who we're supposed to block on the edges. But we're not consistently making mistakes. Right now, we can string together series of 7, 8, 9 plays where we have guys doing the right thing. And I think earlier in the season, we were stringing together, 1 or 2 plays where everybody was doing the right thing. I think the familiarity in the system and just getting reps and reps and reps. I mean, in reality, this is still, we've had 6 games or scrimmages with this football team. 6. And that's why we're just going to continue to go to work, continue to get better, and hopefully those strings of consecutive plays without an MA are going to continue. And when those things happen, that's how we sustain those long drives. And then you combine that with Jordan Travis's ability to get us out of negative plays with his feet, keeps us in better situations, and those combinations are leading to that change.
What have you seen from Robert Scott? I mean, that was a pretty big stage, and it's a pretty good team, and a true freshman making his second career start. It seemed like he handled the moment pretty well.
He's a fighter, man. He's a fighter. Every day he shows up to practice, and he's in pass protection. We throw a ball 15 yards down the field, and he is sprinting to go get lined up on the ball. That's all he knows. All he knows is how to compete. All he knows is how to work. And if you're a freshman and you want to see the field, he's the definition of how to get on the field. Because every single day, we don't have to question his effort or his want to. And at that point, it just comes to ability, and he has the ability. So there's going to be some growing pains, but I've been extremely pleased with how he's playing. And that's a guy who's only going to get better. And he's just going to improve every week because that's his mindset. And just been extremely happy with him.
Next will be Terry from Tomahawk Nation.
Coach, in Saturday's game, I think it was 40 pass plays to 40 rush to 31 pass. Is that your kind of ideal ratio, or is that just game flow? It goes Saturday by Saturday?
Game flow. I mean, we want to be balanced offensively. I think when you have great balance, that's how you create explosive plays, whether they're the run or the pass, is when you have that balance. I think when the less balance you have, I think the less explosive you're going to be because teams can rally behind what you do best, whether that's running the football or throwing the football. But I think when you have great balance, you're going to create explosives in both categories. So I think that's where we want to. It's around where we want to be, but at the same time, game flow is a huge part of it. I mean, obviously, if you're having success running the football, you're not just going to throw it because it looks fun. So I mean, there is some game flow aspect to that, but we would like to be balanced in a perfect world. But within that balance, we want to take what the defense gives us.
Hey, Coach, just want to get your general thoughts on the North Carolina defenses and kind of the challenges they'll present on Saturday night.
Oh, pressure. Just buckle up. They bring pressure from all over, from every shape, every size. It's coming at you. That's kind of the identity of what they're going to do. Defensively, they've got a lot of guys there that have played for a long time. A lot of returners. They've got 5-star corner who's playing for them. I mean, they've got a lot of talent and a lot of veteran guys there that allows them to bring all that pressure because those guys are in the right position. If you have a whole bunch of young guys trying to bring pressure all over the place all the time, I mean, you're going to have a lot of MAs and you're going to have some seams in the running game. But, I mean, I think they do a phenomenal job being aggressive and being able to pressure but not being out of gaps. And that's just a testament to their defensive staff and to those veterans for understanding what they're trying to do within the pressure.
Having all 5 offensive linemen basically play every snap, in what ways does that help? Are there specific ways that helps in terms of how they operate during the course of the entire game?
Oh, 100%. When you can have the continuity just within a game of saying, hey, because like we have a game plan, they have a game plan, right? So understanding, hey, early in the game, it's going to be a twist game. They're bringing twist games. They're going to start a stop, quarterback runs. It's going to be a twist game every single time we get into detached sets, every single time it's in a third down. And those guys feeling those twist games throughout the game and just getting more comfortable with it. If you have to interchange guys, you may have 5 different sets of guys. If you make 3 changes to an O-line throughout a game, have to pass off the same twist game. Whether it's moving those guys around from left tackle to right guard that Taylor has to do all the time. But when you create that consistency, you've got the same people passing off the same games 9 times, 11 times throughout the game. So they may get us early, but it allows that build throughout the game to get comfortable with what their plan is. Whether that's twist games in the pass game, whether that's how they're trying to attack us in the running game with their pressures. So I think that continuity is huge.
Kenny, is there any sort of learning curve for the receivers now that Jordan's a quarterback on those sort of plays where he does what he does and kind of improvises and ad-libs?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that in terms of, working scramble drills and, if you're standing in the same spot when the quarterback's running, something's wrong. That's really what we emphasized is when we're out of the pocket and moving, everybody's got to be moving full speed. And if you're stopped, the defense is stopped. Right, which means they can play you and the quarterback. So we're really emphasizing when we're out on that edges, burst somewhere. burst deep, burst to the sideline, burst back to the quarterback, but stay on the run and give him the ability to throw you the football. I thought too many times in the game we got on the edge and it turned into quarterback run, quarterback run, quarterback run every time we were on the edge in those scramble drills, when those are the opportunities that you can hit explosives. Those are the opportunities that you get defenses trying to match men, go from zone to man on the fly. People call it a plaster technique. Quarterback scrambles, you got to plaster to the closest wide receiver going. And we got to do a better job offensively when we get in those situations, burst away from those men and make those guys play a trail technique and try to get the ball up and over top and create explosives, because that's when it gets fun.
All right, we'll go back to Kurt from the Democrat.
Kind of along those lines, I think Notre Dame sacked Jordan twice. It looked like they could have had him 3 or 4 times more, maybe, if not for some pretty impressive escapes out of the pocket. For an offense that may still kind of be figuring out its identity and kind of getting to kind of full operation of what y'all are looking for, what does his ability to extend plays do?
I mean, it just gets you out of negatives. I mean, it just, anytime you have a guy out there that gets you out of the negative plays, you know, the plays that he makes out there on the perimeter that are explosive, you know, you can't coach that. You can't plan for that. There's no scheme that says, oh, we're going to draw this pass play up, but he's going to roll right here and scramble and throw it 40 yards down the field for a completion. Like, that's just football. What he does, though, is it allows you to stay out of the 2nd and 18s, and at least you're at 2nd and 10 again. And that's the big thing we're preaching to him is, you know, that was one of the biggest negatives in the game is our 3rd and longs. I mean, we're in 3rd and long way too much, and it wasn't for the sacks this week. It was for MAs and other aspects of the offense. And once we put all that together, the fact that we're not taking those sacks, the fact that we're getting out of those negative plays, if we can eliminate those negative plays in the run game and in the perimeter blocking in some of those sets, then that's when we're really going to excel offensively. But we now got to put it all together. You know, we can build and build and continue to get better, but, you know, we got to put it together. We got to start putting together drives, right, like we had in the game, but more consistency in those drives where we got all 11 doing the same things. And, yes, we're getting better, but we're not even close to good enough. And we just got to continue all 11 doing the right thing consistently throughout the football game.
All right, last one. We're going to go back to Pat from the Osceola.
Hey, Coach, I want to go back. You're talking about passing off defenders and pass protection into the run game. One of the things that stood out to me in watching the game a second time was Robert Scott seems like for a true freshman, he's very aware of who he's supposed to block and trading off a blitz pickup or working up to the second level. Have you seen a freshman that's acclimated that quickly in that particular part of the game before?
I haven't. I mean, most freshmen, true freshmen, you know, aren't playing right tackle on the road versus Notre Dame as a starter. So for him, like I mentioned before, he is just an intelligent kid who works, and he has the ability. So he's intelligent. He's gonna put in the work, and he's the type of guy that very rarely makes the same mistake twice. He makes a mistake. You tell him the mistake he made. He can apply how to fix it. And you see that a lot throughout the game, and you see that a lot from practice. He'll make a mistake in a twist game or in a pressure look. We teach it to him, and he can apply that the next day in practice. So you see all those applications show up there on game day, and the more experience he gets, the more things he's going to be able to apply, and the better he's going to look. But I've been really, really happy with how he's performed, but he's going to continue to get better, and that's just his mindset. That's how his mama raised him.